Memories mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for the day. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for the day. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Va salute and happy Friday, happy weekend here at Liquid Lunch. The weekend starts at noon central on Friday because, let's face it, lunchtime on Friday is pretty much when the weekend starts for all of us, right? I mean, from here on, we're just kind of counting down the time. So tonight's topic is AI update, right? You know, we're going to talk about AI and the robot takeover, right? So I decided that a couple different things. First, my drink needs to be themed, related to what we're going to be talking about tonight. I'll get to what this drink is and how it relates in just a moment. Secondly, I decided to try out the AI filter that the platform gives, and it gives me a very, very unnatural looking kind of hue. Don't know if I'm going to go with this tonight. Just wanted to play around with it, and I'm kind of not liking it. But I don't see it beautifying. I see it making me look slightly like a rotoscoped cartoon, kind of like that Keanu Reeves film that the members watched a couple weeks back. Just saying. Anyway, let's get to what all of you are saying and say hi to every single one of you. Then we'll get to what we're talking about today. Big Al is eager to get to that because he's looking forward to the backstory on this drink. Happy Friday, Liquid Lunchers. Have a fun show, Troy. Yeah, you're going to like this story because just like the filter and just like the, tie into the topic for tonight, there's a whole bunch of meta elements to the backstory on this drink. The love of my life is here to ask all of you to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, become a member, gift a membership if you are feeling particularly generous. Yes, I would like to get back to the 100 members I had at the end of the year so that we can get back to maybe setting new goals. I really hate this filter. I'm going to stick with it for this stream, though, because, it is on topic. Does make my eyes look brighter though, doesn't it? Hi, Lynn Green, who says just got back from a quick grocery run. I was so glad that she could, because then she could be here live with us. She was telling me in the chat about how she kicked off work a little bit early yesterday, almost made it in time for the stream, but was unable to. Hey, lol, smash the like button and enjoy the show. Yes. Jonathan Conroy, thank you so much. You are such a wonderful, wonderful supporter of the channel. I really, really do appreciate it. Let's see. And Connie Cleary, the bird woman of YouTube, Fluff Chick Productions. She's got that beautiful blue bird in her, and it kind of, let's put those together. See, blue, he's so blue. Netter's probably fired up about that. Her favorite color. So yeah, let's get to this. So let's talk a little bit about the drink. If you look at, of course, every Friday when I'm doing a mixed drink, I always include the drink recipe in the description below. But this one I can't attribute to a particular web page or anything like that. I can't send you to Giffords or anything like that, or even how to drink. This one was literally created for me by Grok. I went to grok.com. I set it to I use the voice interface, and I prefer to hear the British voice. So I talk to the Eve voice. So I'm, instead of saying Grok, I say Eve. Just makes it a more natural conversation. And she, so I call her she, right? She basically created this recipe from scratch. I said, Eve, can you help me to come up with a drink for my stream tonight? And I described, the topic for tonight, basically being an update on AI and it taking over pop culture and so on and so forth. And so she came up with the Neon Noir, which I thought was pretty cool. And I actually put it wrong in the title for tonight. Maybe I'll change that a little bit later, or excuse me, in the title for today's stream. It should have been Neon Noir, not Neo Noir. I will fix that. But so we're calling this Grok's Neon Noir. I felt that was on topic, right? Because we are talking about AI and its influence in pop culture and so on and so forth. And so how appropriate to have Grok create a drink recipe for specifically tonight's today's liquid lunch, but tonight's last call. This is not the first time I've used AI to create a drink recipe, but I gotta be honest. So what I loved was, so I asked her to make this drink. She puts it together for me. And so I said, Eve, is this a drink you created yourself, or did you find a recipe out on the web? I want to give proper attribution. And she said, no, I created this myself, so no need to give any attribution, which I found interesting, because that seems to be that Grok has built in that there is no claim to copyrights when AI creates something, as we've talked about on this particular topic before. But then she went, this is what I thought was amazing. She went on to explain the methodology by which, or the thinking process, I suppose, if you want to say it that way, for how it came up with the drink. Said it went out there, looked at different noir themed drinks, thinking Blade Runner and that kind of thing. That's where it got the blue hue. Of course, that means bringing in blue curaçao, which, by the way, that's what we'll be talking about in our little history lesson today, the history of blue curaçao. I said we'd be getting to that sooner than later, because this is what, the third week in a row I'm using blue curaçao in a drink. It's like every time you want to bring a blue, sharp blue color to something, you better want to have an orange flavor to it, apparently. So anyway, she's that was how she came upon this drink. So let me read this off to you, especially for those that, you know, are busy working, listening, you know, and can't look right now. We called it Grok's Neo Noir, 2 ounces of vodka, half an ounce of dry vermouth, a quarter ounce blue curaçao, just enough for that cyber glow without turning it into a kid's drink, a quick squeeze of fresh lemon, about half a teaspoon. Shake over ice for 15 seconds. Really get it frosty. Then strain into a chilled coupe. Garnish with a thin lemon twist, or if you're streaming, drop in a single edible silver pearl for that AI just took over Hollywood sparkle. This is literally Grok's words. Tastes sharp, looks insane on camera, and it'll keep you sharp through all those hot takes. Cheers to the future. I thought that was pretty snazzy, and I went a little heavy on the blue curaçao, since that's going to be our topic for the history segment. Let's see. It gives you the soft glamour look. Well, yeah, and I don't like that. It seems artificial, and I guess that's on point for today. I may even go with this tonight for last call, but it's probably the last time I'll ever do something like this. Lynn celebrates 6 months of membership. Guess I better use this now. Thank you again to the kind, generous people who send gifties. Absolutely. I've, because of yourself and a few others, I have noticed, see, you have to kind of read the tea leaves to figure out how YouTube does what it does. So Lynn is of course obliquely referring to the fact that her memberships have been gifted periodically and over time. So therefore, I have concluded that 6 months of membership is a sum total. So and I noticed this when sometimes it happened to me, in fact, when you got to change your credit card. So it goes to charge your credit card for the upcoming month, and it can't because your card is expired or whatever the case is. You get a notification, and you basically lose your membership. You have to go back in with a new credit card and re-up. And I was afraid when that happened, some of the channels, I'd been over a year a member, and I'm like, I don't want to lose that tenure, Nope. The very next time I went on, it was still, whatever the length of time. So and if you haven't been a member for a year or 2 years and you get gifted a membership, it lists you as a member for however long you had been a member previously. Doesn't count the gap time, of course, but you get what I'm saying. So there you go. And then my fluff chick is Talon Tiberius. That's interesting. So in other words, this little blue girl here is Talon Tiberius, or guy. I don't want to assume your gender, Talon. Saying hi to each other. Always love seeing that. And Joe's atmosphere. Let's face it, Troy. You want everybody to look like everything to look like Romulan ale. No, I do not. As a Klingon, I am not advocating for a Romulan drink. By the way, though, I have been promising for some time, and eventually I will do a Star Trek themed stream, and I will do a Romulan ale taste test. I have 2 variations of Romulan ale, and I will do a taste test on both of them. Won't be blind. There's no sense doing it because one is this electric blue, and the other is that slightly greenish blue. Those are the 2 different ones, and they're very different drinks. So I'll just kind of taste them and give my first impressions of each one, honestly. On Moonskull, I went without gifties for about 6 months. Kept the count when I came back. Okay, yeah. So that's exactly what I was talking about. So that reminds me a question I'd had, but I don't want to derail here. It's a Friday. There is no derailing. I don't mind being a little bit freeform. You can ask whatever question you want. Kapla, says Mark Malnikoff. Good to see you, my friend. It is blue. It is blue. Yes, as opposed to it is green, right? Anyway, while Lynn is considering asking her question, I'm going to go ahead and get to the topic of the day, at least as far as alcohol goes, which is blue curaçao. So the story of blue curaçao, which is, strangely, the other orange liqueur. I wonder if this is going to say, as opposed to like triple sec or something like that. Ooh, this needs to be much, much larger. So it comes from a flower that looks like that, which you could probably make a tea out of. I don't like this font either because it's particularly thin. This comes to us from The Kitchen. No affiliation with the page. I'm just giving attribution. This flowering vine, which grows in the tropics of Asia, is known as the butterfly pea. Its delicate flowers are among the few sources of in nature that can naturally color liquids an intense blue. In fact, Netter went out of her way to get me some dried blue fly pea flowers, like prepared like a tea. There's almost no flavor to it at all. All it is like a natural dye. It was for a drink I was doing. I can't remember what it was. And I loved that about it, that it didn't throw off the flavor of the drink in coloring it blue, and it was a natural blue dye, not not some kind of petroleum-based chemical. But and they figured into the story of one distiller's quixotic attempt to give a much derided spirit a well-crafted makeover. Since this month, and I don't know what month this is, at the 9 Bottles Bar, which I have no idea who that is. Does it say? So this was July 2014. So I guess July at this 9 Bottles Bar is all about orange liqueur. They must really love orange liqueur. We'd be remiss to not acknowledge that in our discussion of fine triple secs and artfully crafted Grand Marnier, we omitted any mention of blue curaçao. And free spirit of the orange liqueur family. So what is blue curaçao? Blue curacao is essentially an orange liqueur dyed blue. The coloring doesn't or shouldn't influence the flavor. So even though you're drinking blue, you're tasting orange. Keeping in mind that orange is a color as well as a flavor, and the two are very, very different things. So the Romulan Empire was about 400 years old, comprised hundreds of conquered, colonized star systems. How does losing their first two colonies make them refugees of the Klingon Empire? In my book, is about 300 years old. Conquered hundreds of worlds. The the great houses have their own worlds. Tigokor is a backup capital, probably reaction to Praxis. Yeah, so a couple things there. First is sloppy writing. Writers who don't pay attention to their own canon as it's set up, which is, I think, particularly egregious for Star Trek, because we have wonderful reference books with chronologies, encyclopedias, technical manuals available to the public that the writers can and should be using. In fact, those books did start out as writers' Bibles for the writers of Star Trek Season 2. Don't know what to tell you about that. Michael Okuda and Rick Sternbach were really, really good about that. And sometimes, let's be honest, if we're truly, truly honest about the cultures created by the writers for Star Trek alien races, they don't make a lot of sense. You know, they tend to be, let's be honest, kind of racist. And I don't mean racist in that, oh, they're talking about real world race and they're applying it to, no, the idea of using a stereotype that covers all Vulcans are logical and follow the teachings of Serac, and they all have one belief system, and that's the way it is. That's their whole society. There is no variation. And Klingons are all warriors. They follow the precepts of Kailash, the unforgettable, and there is no question to that. There is no counterculture in their and no thinking through of the histories and the development of how empires work and generational development of different societies and stuff like that. But once they establish something in canon, you just got to say, well, that's the way it is. I'm going through the same thing right now with playing Fallout and learning all of its lore, and I'm realizing this alternate history simply would not work. They really had to shoehorn in a history to make the aesthetic they were going for work. So it's this idea. At first, I thought that there was some sort of nuclear war that happened in the 1950s. And so all of the old world culture that you're seeing is from the 1950s and earlier. So 1950s style cars, dresses, hairstyles, and all that kind of stuff. That's not the case. What it is like the 2070s is when the nuclear war happened. But it was an alternate 1970s where the culture of the 1950s, so for almost 120 years, I guess, something like that, it just stayed and didn't change. And they said, well, the U.S. after World War II became very, very authoritarian, and to the point where any kind of counterculture was punishable by death. Okay, I guess. It doesn't really work. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. But you just accept it to get the framework you want and go forward. So So it's interesting you say that because, yes, in the pre-Next Generation era, the Franz Joseph era, so to speak, um, all of the Klingon culture came from um, the the EU, the books and the role playing game, the FASA role playing game, worked hand in hand, and they just made up whatever they wanted. And so, if the Vulcans come from the planet Vulcan, right, and the Tellarites come from Tellar, well, then the Klingons must come from Kling. And no one said, well, that sounds weird. Maybe it shouldn't be Kling. And it was so much a part of Fanon that the first appearance of the Klingons in Next Generation, and I don't mean Worf, I mean Klingons from the Klingon Empire, make a reference to being from Kling. And that was right around the time they were getting ready to do Star Trek 6, and they decided, yeah, you know what? We're going to call it Kronos 1, the ship, because the name of the Klingon homeworld is going to be Kotnos. And they did that in conjunction with Dr. Okrent, who created the language, because we're not Earthlings, we're humans, right? We're humans from Earth, so you could be Klingon from Kotnos, right? They're right. But yes, so Rick Sternbach and Michael Kuda were like, well, maybe to make that line in that episode make sense, there's some planet in the Klingon Empire called Kling, and maybe they were, maybe it was a colony or something like that, which it would not be spelled Kling, Kling. It would be TLHING, Kling. But anyway, Archer's Klingon lore. You didn't think all Klingons were warriors, did you? I prefer, even before that, Jadzia Dax, when she specifically said Klingons are as diverse a group of people as anyone else. They're not all warriors. Sorry. No. Don't be sorry to derail. I love getting off on topics sometimes. Early sources called it Kronos 1. Why is the Klingon flagship named for a Greek titan? It's not. Well, it is because that's what the writers said. But Mark Okren points out, well, there is no CH, there is no K in Klingon. It would be very, very different. So he said what phonemes in the Klingon language would fit Kronos. And Kotnos is as close as you could get. And it just happens to be the name of their planet in their language. And just like so many other things, the human ear draws a correlation, right? So unfortunately, I'm only thinking of real world examples that involve words that you should not use because they're offensive to certain races. So I can't really go with that. But these kinds of things happen when you have a dichotomy of language. Think about vamoose. There is no word vamoose. That is a slang term created in the American Southwest, derived from the Spanish word vamos or vámonos. We go or go, right? Vamoose means get out of here. That's a slang term, And if you don't know the etymology of words like that, you're going to go, well, why is there a word vamoose in English and a word vámonos in Spanish that are kind of so similar? Well, that's why. Actually, that's probably a bad example because one is a derivative of the other, and The other is just coincidence. Two words that sound alike that humans made a connection with. The word cling actually was used by Captain Chorus. Yes, in Heart of Glory. That's what I was referring to. I won't wait for the traders of Kling to pick the meat from my bones. That never made sense at all to me. Yeah, it only makes sense when you realize that the intent of the writer was Kling was the Klingon homeworld, and he was referring to the establishment of the Klingon Empire, the representatives in the Klingon High Council as being the traders. But like I said, Mike Okuda suggested, well, maybe he's talking about a province and not the overall empire in order to make it work in canon. And in order to reset and get back to what we were talking about, let me do the promos. Let me refill my drink, and then we'll be back in just a few minutes. Right about that.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together.
This week on Saturday Night at the Movies. After stealing a mysterious orb in the far reaches of space, Peter Quill becomes the main target of a manhunt led by Ronan the Accuser. To fight Ronan and save the galaxy, Quill creates a team of space heroes to save the galaxy, calling themselves, surprisingly, the Guardians of the Galaxy. This Saturday night at 9 Central, 10 Eastern, on Netter's Network Retro Cinema.
Every Sunday evening, Aged Boomer and Last Call with Troy Pacelli bring you the rundown of the week's geek news, or at least what they think is interesting. You may have heard about it elsewhere, but Boomer and Pacelli spin it like only two old geezers can. It's Geeky Geezers, every Sunday evening at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
This week on Last Call presents Doctor Who. The Doctor and Susan supply Marco Polo with water condensed inside the TARDIS, saving the group from dying of thirst. When the caravan reunite with Tegana, the travellers begin to suspect something. Then the TARDIS crew manage to rescue Barbara from the Mongols, but Marco remains unaware of Tegana's involvement. It's part 2 of the reconstruction of the Marco Polo missing episodes, Sunday at 11:30 p.m. Central, 12:30 Eastern.
Hello. While you're here, please visit our merch store where you can get cute t-shirts just like this. Link in the description below. Or use this QR code on your mobile device. Hope you find something you like. Every Monday night is Members Night at the Movies on Last Call. Members enjoy an exclusive watch party just for them, and you can join too for as little as $1.99 a month. This week on Last Call, the topic is AI, a topic very dear to my heart. So the members are choosing between 4 AI-themed films for the Monday night feature. Members, be sure to get over to the community tab and vote for your favorite. And if you're not a member, please consider it. It really helps support what we do here at Last Call. Thanks. This week on Live from Sparkwood and 21, there won't be a rewatch. Rather, the superfans will be doing a deep dive discussion of the pilot episode we watched this past week. There was just too much to say in one stream. Join us this Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Central, 8:30 Eastern on Deleted Scenes and Affiliates.
Holmes receives a surprise visit from the Prime Minister, asking his assistance in the recovery of a sensitive diplomatic letter stolen from a diplomat's home. Can Holmes recover this letter so incendiary that it might lead Great Britain into war if published? We'll find out this Tuesday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Last Call presents the return of Sherlock Holmes.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
I want to say hi to Corey of Wilkie's Movies and Music, who, of course, I will be chauffeuring you over to right after this stream, because that's what we do over here on Fridays. Friday lineup goes Liquid Lunch, and then we go over to Wilkie's Movies and Music. And if Big Al has a Films with Friends, which I think he should tonight, I'm not positive, but this is a netter week on Saturday, so he usually does a Friday early evening Films with Friends, and then, of course, Last Call tonight. Lynn says, I wish I was here Tuesdays so I could do this kind of thing then and not interrupt the Friday theme. That's fine. That's fine. On my original question, though, it would be like Earth blowing up and just ignoring the hundreds of Earth colonies introduced over the 30 seasons and 10 movies. Yeah. I would even say that it would be like if you blew up I don't know, London, and suddenly the entire British Empire ended, because I think most World War II historians, even armchair historians, know that Britain had a plan in case London was destroyed to move the capital. If they had to move out of England entirely because of invasion, they were going to move the royal family and whatever government there was to Canada and continue, fighting the war and running the empire from Canada. There was what was it? The War of 1812 when the capital of the U.S. was sacked, and they had to move. And everyone knows, since at least the late 40s, early 50s, have known that there are plans in place of nuclear war. Bunkers, moving out of DC, decentralizing. I would actually like to not wait for a nuclear war. I would like to see DC unincorporated and decentralize the federal government anyway. It is now easier to do that than ever, and that's the way I think that it should be done. So it's absolutely ridiculous that destroying a capital city, or in this case, a capital planet of an empire would destroy them. It makes no sense. No Films with Friends tonight because Friday the 13th last week. Okay, gotcha. Makes sense. So, yeah, let's get back to this. So, forgive my profile, but this lettering is too difficult to read on the small screen, so I'm going to read it up here on the big screen. So I'll be looking up this way. The origins of this offshoot product are murky. Some sources credit Bols, the Dutch spirits brand, with creating blue curaçao in 1920s. Others cite Senor Curaco of Curaçao, a longtime orange liqueur distiller located in the island of Curaçao. I mean, that actually makes sense. Otherwise, why do we call it that, right? Having been the first to blue its Curaçao, both outfits continue to produce blue Curaçao today. Is it a total gimmick? Give me a second. The product's reputation, understandably, has been that of a gimmick, a staple of many a thatch-roofed beachside bar, but not really considered a serious cocktail ingredient outside of vacation land. One may recall that at the start of season 6 of Man, a resort wear-clad Don Draper is served one of the quintessential cocktails of the Blue Curaçao canon, the Blue Hawaiian, which we had a couple weeks ago. When cocktail culture in America strayed towards the cloyingly sweet and kitschy around the 1970s and 80s, Blue Curacao was along for the ride. According to Brenton Engel, who operates Leatherby Distillers, a small Chicago-based distillery best known for its gins. Many of the mass market Blue Curaçaos available today are made with concentrated orange flavoring instead of actual orange peels, and some kind of artificial food coloring to achieve the telltale electric blue appearance. I couldn't think of a more bastardized liqueur out there, he told me recently. Leatherby has taken on challenging projects such as crafting a rendition of the polarizing Swedish bitter liqueur Besk at Engel, though it'd be and Engel thought it'd be fun for the distillery to make a more genuine natural version of Blue Curacao. Over the course of the past year, he and his team researched and developed a recipe for Blue Curacao, only to conclude that getting the spirit to remain a radiant blue was too difficult to achieve, which is why they presumably use artificial dyes. Engel's research into Blue Curacao pointed to the butterfly pea flower as a traditional source of the liqueur's blue coloring. Through a seller on Etsy, he managed to purchase dried butterfly pea flowers. That's kind of what we did, but we found a local, is there a word for a tea seller? Who was able to get it for us, which are most commonly found in Southeast Asia, where you might encounter their being used to give drinking water a pleasant decorative blue tint. Once Leatherby had developed a satisfactory orange curacao recipe through a distillation of natural spirits with bitter and sweet orange peels, a process similar to making gin, the next step was to blanch the flowers in a small, nearly boiling portion of the liqueur, extracting the flower's vivid blue color. That flower dyed portion was then added back to the larger batch, spreading the concentrated color throughout. The thing about using those blue flowers is it's very difficult to stabilize that nice blue color you get from them for long periods of time, which is essentially why we put a halt to making it ourselves. It looks great when you first do it, but after about a month and a half, the UV rays get at the coloring and break it down, and it kind of just fades to a dull grayish blue. Given the brief shelf life of the product, it wasn't viable for sales beyond, say, a tiki bar, where it would be consumed at a rapid pace. For now, we'll have to wait for the ultimate artisanal Blue Curacao to come along, if anyone is in fact doing that. But if the home bartender were ever so inclined to try his or her hand at bluing an orange Curacao, seeing one of the flowers of the blue butterfly pea and get to experimenting. And like I was saying before, I've done that. I actually, Netter did get me that particular flour, the dried flour, and I used it for, I don't remember now what drink I was making. And yes, if I was doing it, I would not be looking to make any kind of a shelf stable version of it. I would just make it as needed for the drink I was making, because let's face it, I'm not serving, a bunch of them. But that's the other thing. I would be doing it not to make my own Blue Curacao. I would be doing it because I just wanted to put a blue coloring to something without affecting the flavor, right? So I love that idea of making it in the gin or in the vodka, it kind of makes more sense to me in that regard. Let's see. Wow, we got a lot of conversation going on here. Let me get back to what you guys are saying. March is going to be a little crazy too, because of another Friday the 13th, and MegaCon. And what Big Al is referring to there, check out Netter's stream from last night. Netter and I are going down to MegaCon, and we talked about the details of our trip because we're inviting you, if you live in the Florida area or adjacent states, or just we're planning to go to MegaCon anyway, we're going to be there, so we could totally do some kind of a meetup, which would be a lot of fun. So we were kind of telling what our itinerary was, where we were going to be, what days, and kind of outlining the plan that once we leave the house, like literally get in the car to drive, we will give an update on our community tabs and on X, and probably in the MeWe group for those of you that are in the MeWe group. You should be able to access Discord too. So if you're on the Discord, we'll put the details out there on our various social medias so that you can see where we're going to be and when, and meet up with us and communicate with us so that we can, coordinate. They want to give Washington, representation. Yeah. That's the whole reason that DC is not a state. It's not supposed to. It was never meant to be a residential place. So if you choose to live there because you're part of the government or whatever, you should be voting in your own home state. And if you choose to move there and claim residency there, then you give up your right to vote. That's just all there is to it. That's how it was meant to be, for a reason. Let Washington, Virginia have state representation and move the federal government somewhere more central, like a carve out of Missouri. I don't think that. I would be even more decentralized than that. I would say every state should have their own Capitol building, right? And you can have your federal legislative meetings via the equivalent of a Zoom. You don't have to leave your state anymore, right? Springfield exists in Illinois, and Dick Durbin and whoever else our other senator is can go there, and they can have a Zoom call with all of the other state representatives, the Senate. You know what I mean. You might want a separate building for your representatives, which might mean that, you'd have to leave whatever your district is to go to Springfield or whatever. But it's better than leaving your district to go to DC, right? It might be easier to be in session, don't even get me started. Right? And then in the event of some sort of catastrophic event, the most you lose is one state and the representatives, right? You don't lose the entire federal government when someone, I don't know, flies a plane into the Capitol building, which is something they had planned to do on 9/11. Can you creators of Star Trek are all idiots? The Romulan homeworld being destroyed or the Klingon homeworld being destroyed wouldn't displace them or put them near Federation. They have empire that the new creators of Star Trek, if you can call them, are absolutely stupid. The Klingon homeworld or the Romulan homeworld being destroyed wouldn't cripple them and make them almost extinct. Yeah, I know. Welcome, Samuel Proctor. Yeah, when Rogue Squadron's mission to take Coruscant from the Empire was a success, the Empire still lived on for decades. or two, for a decade or two, with its warlords and Thrawn and Pelion, just not necessarily as powerful. Yeah, it forcibly became decentralized. And part of that centralization was, of course, the emperor and his will, not only dictatorially, but through the use of the dark side and coordination. The whole reason the DC exists is it doesn't have any representation. It's because the district is supposed to be neutral and not representative of any one state. Because it literally would be representation of the government by the government. That's what it is if you give representation to DC. 50 capitals also make it harder for the people wanting to grift. Bingo! So what we're saying is, Troy, you want to return decentralized state era to the late 1700s of Washington. Is that correct? Yes! Yes! In all things, look to the founders' original ideas. This is why I love the Bruin decision so much. Coruscant fell in like 8 ABY. Pelion Gaversum Treaty was 19 ABY. So yeah, about 11 years. But all the people living there are demanding it now. Yeah, well, too bad. Too bad. We, the rest of the people of the country, need to be educated enough to know that should not happen. It just shouldn't. I realize that I'm starting to run late. I need to get you over to Corey's, so I don't want you to be late for that. So I'm going to wrap it up now. I hope you can join me tonight for Last Call, where we will be talking about the AI take over the world. It's not all bad. It's not all bad, and I'll explain why. So, folks, take care of yourselves. Stay healthy. Stay hydrated. Even though I say it, doesn't necessarily mean I always do it. And when I don't, I suffer, which reminds me to remind you. So this isn't just me, do as I say, not as I do. Do as I try to do, as I aspire to do, and accept from my experience why it is so important. So, so you were born outside of the United States. You're not a citizen. I'm joking. But there you go. Power Ranger Donnie, haven't seen you in a minute. Film Threat Raid, thank you so much. Hello, Troy, and all the happy Power Ranger Mystic Force Day. Hope everyone is well, despite my 2-time Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks up for sale. Join the club, my friend. The Chicago Bears look like they're going to be leaving Chicago. Can't say as I blame them. I don't even go back into the city anymore. Just saying. Thanks for the talk, Troy and chat. Super appreciate that. And there is no try, Troy. Yes. Do or do not. There is no try. Yes, exactly right. So anyway, I'm going to wrap things up there. I thank you so much. I do hope that I can see you tonight. We've got some great things planned for tonight. These AI streams always give me an opportunity to be a little bit more creative with some of the flourishes and my drinks, apparently. Hopefully the Seahawks remain right where they are. I'm sure there's a bit of a back and forth kind of business tug of war going on. But anyway, thank you all so much. Have a great rest of the day. Say hi to Corey. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button when you get over to his channel. Take care of yourselves. Be healthy. Drink responsibly. Again, do as I say, not as I do. And take care of yourselves. I'll see you all on the next one. Salute.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high noon.